What is going on, everybody? It is Tuesday night. Time for Texans to talk some football. I, of course, am the loudmouth of the South, SAJ, and I'm coming to you from the Tom Benson Chevrolet Studios because that's
Oh
one
man,
that's gone too. I know,
is
right?
he? I mean, I know Tom Benson's gone, but is the
Tom
is
Benson
the
Chevrolet
dealership?
is gone too, I'm pretty sure.
Hmm.
There's no
Well,
Benson in San Antonio anymore.
that's interesting.
You know where you
Well,
could, well, where are you coming from?
hey, everybody, I'm BD. I'm coming from the Red McCombs Indian on 410 Studios.
Wow. Somehow I knew you were going to do that. I knew you were going to take that one. That
You
is
know
so
what? You got to
sad.
keep the theme, man. You got to keep it going. So
So sad. So sad that we're losing a national treasured monument here in San Antonio. But
absolutely.
we still have football. So let's talk some football. Brian, what do you want to start out with today? There's a lot going on. I mean, obviously, college football has kicked into full swing. High school football started last week. Everything is going quite well, and we're poised in what, 2 days to start talking about
Yeah.
NFL football.
NFL
So
kickoff 2 days. We had college football. Major kickoff last week. I heard there was a couple of games the weekend before, but the major kickoff was last weekend. So obviously, I think we should start talking with NAL. You know,
let's talk some arena football because there's a bunch going on.
yeah.
Uh, I'm
So
trying to I'm trying to look up high school football as well.
okay.
Just because there's just a bunch of craziness that always happens whenever we're talking about high school football. But
Always, always.
let's
Well,
talk about
in
arena
arena
football first.
news, yeah, arena news. San Antonio Gunslingers, they had their big post that an announcement was coming in a couple of days, and
Mm-hmm.
we all thought that they were going to announce the jump to the IFL, but that didn't happen. They announced that they had signed a new coach and GM,
Mm-hmm.
which is Tom Menace.
Yep.
Uh, Played for the Gunslingers originally in '85. Played for Detroit. He's been a coach for years. Coached Albany to in the NAL to their two championships in 21, 22. So, I mean, coaching pedigree that he's got a really good one. Um, so really, it's I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm actually kind of pretty impressed by this coaching pull here.
Oh, 100%. So we can definitely tell that we've got a quality coach that has come on into San Antonio. Nothing against Fred Shaw. And we actually talked about it. Milton and I talked about it last week. Um, Not sure exactly what's going on with Coach Shaw, but it looks like they left on good terms, right? San Antonio
Yeah,
and the John Wayne organization left on good terms. Well, Fred Shaw left on good terms with them. Probably pursuing something else in his life. Maybe he's got another coaching opportunity, or maybe he's just taking some time off from football to spend some time with his family, because I know he's got some younger ones. So maybe he's just trying to focus on them. Whatever the case may be, we definitely wish Shaw the best of luck in whatever career venture he jumps into. He's been an incredible player and an incredible coach for the city.
oh yeah, dude,
And
Shaw was a hell of a coach for us, man. And I mean,
yeah,
to do what he did the first season we were there, just to turn around and from absolute garbage to respectable, and
yeah,
and then last season, I mean, for most of the year, the best team of the league,
hmm
it's an absolute phenomenal job.
yeah.
So I
So
mean, best of luck
again,
to coach and whatever he's pursuing next.
yeah. So our next coach that's coming up, Coach Menace, we talked about some of his pedigree and everything. He's coached with the Green Bay Blizzard. He was coach in 20 and 21 with the New Jersey Flight. He also, before that, was coach. He was the head coach, I believe, for the Albany Empire team, and he coached them, I believe, for 2 years, and once in 2020, and then again in 2022. Um, those are the 2 years that they won the championship, and
Yeah.
that was under his direct tutelage that happened. So we're getting an incredible coach here. Looking at some of his stats, he's coached 55 years in football essentially. He's been a part of 12 championship teams throughout his career, right? And he's very excited to join the squad in 2024 and beyond. So we're getting an incredible coach. The league, however, something that we probably need to talk about, right?
Yeah.
There's We already know that Albany has folded, right? We know that essentially it is just San Antonio and Carolina that are going to be left the NAL.
Uh, is it?
But don't know is how long either one of those are going to stay along in that organization and who's going to be coming in to take their places, right? West Texas Warbirds are already out. We know they're going to the IFL. They've even changed their name. They're not even the Warbirds anymore. They are the West Texas
The Desert Hawks.
Desert Hawks, I believe it is,
Yeah.
right? We know Orlando Predators is jumping ship to go to the AFL. I believe that announcement's already been made. I don't know that it is like 100% official yet.
I think that was when AFL made their big announcement of the teams that they were going to have. They mentioned the city, but once
Mhm.
again, no team name, no
Right,
nothing
right.
like that.
So far, right now, we only know that the AFL only has like what, one or two teams,
I think two
and
teams. I think they announced the West Texas team and the one other one, I believe.
well, let's find out. We are going to bring up the AFL football website. I thought I'd already brought this up. Marina Football League, boom. Teams so
Which
far.
side though? You know what's really funny about all these leagues? Like their websites they're not AFL.com or NAL.com or anything like that. It's the AFL.com. It's like and then it's like go IFL,
Well, but so the problem is that a lot of organizations, people, individuals such as ourselves or whatever, will grab these names up,
Yeah.
right? As soon as they hear about an announcement or whatever, they'll go and snipe all those and then force those organizations to buy those names from them, right? Places like GoDaddy, where you normally would register kind of your own basic website, blah blah blah, whatever. People go in there and they just come up with names, and then they just buy those domains, and then they
Yep.
force organizations to buy those back. So like XFL, XFL's held the rights to the XFL website name since like 2001, right? And NFL, things like that, right? They were smart. They grabbed them up. They held on to them. I'm pretty sure the AAF website is still around and owned by the AAF as well, even though it's defunct and bankrupt and basically stripped down to nothing. There's still an organization that's responsible for that website.
Yep.
So places like AFL, IFL, NAL, things like that didn't get that opportunity. So those names have been sniped.
Yeah.
Um,
So they're just looking for something close to it
right.
to
So
get it. I just something I find humorous.
right. So I'm looking at their website and they don't have a single team that's announced on their website.
No, they don't.
Um, I do know that looking at visiting our friends at Arena Football Newsroom, they've got the announcement that the Omaha Beef will be joining the NAL. So that's
Mhm.
one team that's coming in, right? And they may potentially replace San Antonio, or one of the other numerous teams that have left. Uh, as far as teams that are going into the AFL, I know that they've made announcements. At least a couple of the teams, but there's nothing really solid and concrete. And the thing is, one of the teams that was announced was not even one of the original teams that was going to be part of the original 16. And so you've got this oddball that just kind of jumps in. Here you go. And
Yep.
so it's I want to see the AFL do well. I do. But I don't think that they're going to even get off the ground, man. I mean, the way they're approaching everything, I think it's just going to be, if they do manage to pull it off, it's going to be shaky as all get out. Now, I will say that St. Louis AFL team is reportedly set to play in the Family Arena. Um, that's going to be good for St. Louis because, I mean, the Family Arena isn't really used necessarily for a whole bunch of things. Officially speaking, it looks like the Orlando Predators and the West Texas Warbirds, which are now the Desert Hawks, are the only two teams that have actually officially announced. And then there's one other team. I cannot remember the name of it because this article was written on July 20th. So it's a little dated. But I know
Yeah.
there was a third team that was announced, and it was not one that was expected. St. Louis, of course, is pushing to get an arena team, or the AFL is pushing to get an arena team in St. Louis, and so they're talking about this family arena center, which is a decent location. I mean, it's pretty much equivalent to our Freeman Coliseum. Great
Oh, okay.
location for arena football. However,
Yeah,
again, it's still
yeah,
not confirmed, right?
Yeah.
There's still not a lot of information out there. So we would like to report more. There just isn't anything left. I mean, there's nothing really much about the AFL.
I mean,
So
I guess they're supposed to be announcing some stuff here in the next week or two. This week, maybe next week, and
yeah.
stuff like that. We're just sitting there waiting
Mhm.
for them to make the announcements.
Now I will say that they are the AFL has a little bit different football model here. So what it sounds like is that uh, it's almost like a franchise opportunity, right?
Yeah,
So the teams get to be a part of the AFL, but then they have to pay like a membership to be a part of the AFL, right? And that's in addition to, having to be able to pay for the team and pay for the facilities and pay for training and pay for this and that and whatever travel and all these other things. In addition to that, then they have to pay for the right to say that they're part of the AFL. That's
a little
I'm
weird.
not yeah,
A little weird for a league that is not established, that is
right.
attempting a comeback. You
Hmm.
know,
So
uh,
it makes me wonder how the rest of the leagues are established, because that's one thing that we will say here on the show is that we like arena football to kind of be the stopgap measure, to get us between XFL and college and all that, but we don't unfortunately know a whole bunch about it, right?
yeah.
We haven't you know delved into this realm a whole bunch, so we don't
Not
necessarily know
ninety
about the
percent of what
structure.
we've learned in the last few months just
Oh
from
yeah.
doing the show and kind of focusing on the leagues during the off season. So
Right. So we're gonna have to do a little bit more looking around and see if this is kind of the structure or not. Um, but right now we do know that there are going to be a couple of teams that are going to be leaving uh, the IFL to join the AFL, and there's teams that are coming in to fill those gaps. Potentially San Antonio being one of them. We'll have to see what happens.
yeah,
Um, but that being the case, there is one team that is not part of one of the organizations that we normally talk about, and it's one that I definitely want to talk about tonight. There is uh, a team called Texas Hotshots, and the Texas Hotshots are part of the AIF, I believe it is. I'll have to look and see exactly which organization that they are in. But I wanted to talk about this team because they're doing things a little bit differently over here, right? They're very much focused on the players and the development of the players, but they're also focused on the mental health of the players, right?
yeah.
So it sounds like this goes much deeper than, and I don't even know if it's just the players. I mean, it may even go a little bit further. Um, but for a professional sports organization to be concerned about the mental health of their players, just in general, right? I know that professional teams have counseling services and things like that. When your player kind of gets the yips, if you will, right? They have psychologists that they can send them
So
to and whatever.
they all all the teams kind of talk about that. Yeah, yeah, that's important to us. It's important to us. The Hot Shots are the only team that I'm aware of, that I'm familiar with, that puts it on the front page of their website. Hey, this is one of our primary focuses. So, they're it's not just something that's in the background that they have to deal with, and because it's important in today's day. No, I guess we'll do it. No, this is obviously a big priority for them, which is
Hmm.
fantastic.
Oh yeah. And so for me, that kind of strikes close to home because that's, one of the things that I have worked on in my 25 plus years of being employed is getting my degree in psychology, right? So this is something that I'm very much interested in, very much passionate about, is mental health. And for a team to make it that big of a priority, I mean, that immediately jumped off the page to me. And it screamed, hey, this is something that you need to look into, Jason,
Yeah.
because this is a big deal. And as you said, Brian, for a team not only to take it seriously, but to take it so seriously that they put it as one of their primary focuses on their website, that this is what we're doing. This is what our focus is. That screams just volumes about the character of the ownership and the organization. So we are definitely interested, first of all, because it's a Texas team, but secondly, because this is such a, to me anyways, such a revolutionary idea for them to be so focused on the mental health aspect of life, right? Life gets complicated, life gets messy, life
Yep.
tends to get in the way of life. So for them to be this focused on it, it definitely has our attention, and we will definitely be watching more. And they're going to be one of the teams that we're definitely going to be rooting for, not just because they're a Texas team, but because they're a stand-up organization. At least we hope.
Absolutely.
Right at this point, we don't know. We're going to find out, but we can definitely hope that they stand behind their word, and that'll give us more reason to cheer for them. So we have now covered that. I want to look at the high school football, because high school football, is just insane here. I want to see the results for the high school football, and it's not coming up. And so let me do this. Brian, keep everybody entertained.
All right. So I'm gonna juggle for all you guys. No, just kidding. High school football. So
Works and
we are
schedules. Here
gonna
we go.
look at last week's.
We are going to look at last week's.
Shoot, I just pulled up this week's. All right, now your turn to keep everybody entertained.
Dun 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 dun. Um, this is this week's stuff. I don't want to see this week's. I want to see last week's. Right? They should make
That's
this
what I was.
easier for us. Right? That way we
That's
don't
what
have
I
to
was
try
just
and.
looking at too. I was trying to find this last week's and it sent me to this week's.
Okay, here we go. This should be last week's. No, this is what Milton and I talked about, which was kind of last week's results, and some of the games that were won and lost by powerhouses. So here we go. Maybe this will show it. Nope. Nope.
All right,
Well,
I
how about
think
we do this? How about we come back
here
to college football?
I've got last week's stuff right here. All right,
Okay.
I got
Bring
last week's games pulled up.
Run it through it. Run us through it. We're specifically
So
worried about NEISD, maybe some of those powerhouses in NISD, but also CISD, which would be come out.
yeah.
So talk to me. How did
So
Judson do?
Judson, I'm not there yet. Madison beat San Marcos 2-0. That's right. My Mavericks. It's our
Who
year. Yeah,
cares?
exactly.
That'd be like
Uh,
me saying Roosevelt actually did something wonderful on the football field.
no, Roosevelt lost.
Roosevelt always
J-
loses.
Johnson beat O'Connor. Brennan beat Brandeis.
Wow.
Let's see. Jay beat Medina Valley to go to 2-0. Let me see. Let me see. New Braunfels Canyon beat Victoria East to go to 1-1. Smithson Valley 1-1. They beat Kylene Harker Heights.
Ouch.
Let's
So
see.
let's talk about our friends at the mighty Diamond J, Judson Rockets. Folks, they played Austin Westlake, which Milton said himself last week it was going to be a really tough game. They lost 47-0.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's bad.
Oh, you know who
That's
else
bad.
lost?
Who else
Steele
lost?
to Austin Lake Travis.
That doesn't really surprise me, man. Those Austin football teams are just brutal.
Yep.
You know? Um, let's take a look at Canyon Lake beat Victoria East. So that's good, I guess.
Oh, you know what?
MacArthur,
Roosevelt did win. There you go.
nobody wins. Nobody wins when they play. Judson, yeah.
Oh, you
Like
know what? I said Roosevelt won, but they don't have. I thought they were highlighted. I guess they stopped keeping score starting the games on Saturday. They haven't updated the website yet. So
probably. Lake Travis beat Steele, but they only beat them 20-10. Lake Travis has always been a powerhouse, right? They've always brought a really strong team. So while that's unfortunate for Steele, that shows that Steele has a really good team. To be able to only lose by 10, that's pretty awesome. Reagan beat Round Rock, that's okay. Alamo Heights played Brackenridge and beat them. This is a high school game, folks. Keep this in mind. This is a high school game, high school kids. They beat them, according to this website. It's making me a little suspect, but according to this website, they beat them 81-0.
oh
81 to
geez.
0. That can't be right. That can't be right. But we'll dig into it deeper and find out. The other ones I'm looking for, I'm not seeing Wagner, and I'm not seeing our friends over at Veterans Memorial. Now I know Wagner, I believe, played at home, and Veterans was on the road, and I'm not sure. That's Waco. I don't care about Waco.
All right, you know Roosevelt did beat they beat East Central.
Hang on, real quick. Hang on.
I gotta go get July. Listen to cousins.
Okay, sorry, my dogs are apparently breaking out. So
Oh geez,
yeah, it keeps happening. It is what it is. Okay,
it is what it is.
yeah. Holmes beat MacArthur. We talked about that. Laredo United beat Marshall. Sotomayor beat South San. I know they've been kind of struggling as of late. Madison beat San Marcos. Harlandale beat Edison. Johnson beat O'Connor. Blah, 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 blah.
What was the one that you were looking for that you were asking about?
I was looking for Veterans Memorial and Wagner. Warren beat Del Rio. Bernie Champion beat Eagle Pass. New Braunfels Canyon beat Victoria East, which doesn't really surprise me. Smithson Valley beat Colleen Harker Heights.
I'm not seeing Wagner. Did they not play this week?
Well, they're 5A, and so that could be why we're not seeing it. Because most of the coverage that you see is all 6A stuff. Although Lavernia is in there, and Lavernia is not a 6A school, so maybe they had a week off. I don't know. But either way, so that's kind of where we're at with high school football. I know we're kind of stammering and not fully prepared for high school football, but the problem is the coverage. Trying to dig into all this information and find it gets a little crazy. Okay. Anyways, so that's kind of our high school, at least Northside high school recap. I definitely want to talk about some of the craziness that happened in college football this week.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So you're not a UT fan, but I think it's worth talking about. UT beat Rice 37-10, and they struggled in the first quarter.
They did.
It was close.
I actually watched that game because I was waiting for the Aggie game, so I needed something on.
How did your Aggies do against New Mexico?
Curb stomped them, I think is the appropriate term.
That's also New Mexico.
Exactly, which is you expect. I mean, really, the first week of college football, it pretty much went how you would expect, except for the big upset games that everyone's talking about. Which mainly is obviously Colorado beating TCU, and then.
Did you watch that game? Coach Prime's
I did not. No,
debut.
I did not watch it. I watched highlights of it after the fact.
Dude, Colorado versus TCU. It was a dogfight. Back and forth. That lead changed so many times it wasn't even funny.
Yeah.
And Coach Prime again, his debut, managed to squeak one out, 3-point win. I don't remember what the final score was. I'm trying to track it down right now. Here it is, 45
5
to
to 42.
42.
Yeah.
Okay. Colorado was not ranked. TCU was ranked 17th going into this week or going into last weekend. Well, that's not going to be the case anymore. So,
No.
My University of Wisconsin Badgers, they wound up beating Buffalo 38 to 17. I didn't even know Buffalo was a university. Like, I didn't even know it was a thing, you know?
They have colleges up there?
Yeah, I felt really bad for them. Both of us can agree University of Oklahoma is not our friend, right? We are not fans of the University of Oklahoma, right?
Nope.
They beat Arkansas State.
Arkansas State is not a fan of Oklahoma either after this past week.
Not after this. They beat Arkansas State 73 to 0. But that is not the most surprising score of the weekend.
It is not.
Number 15, Oregon. The Mighty Ducks of Oregon beat Portland State, which I think is a high school team, in all fairness. They beat them 81 to 7. 81, that's not even like a real thing. And they still beat them. I don't get that, man. I don't get that. Now, the one game that did strike close to home, which I don't see here on the college rankings that they're talking about, probably because those teams weren't ranked. They're not top 25. But the University of Texas at San Antonio, unfortunately, fell victim to those dope, incredible uniforms of the University of Houston. Which
beautiful uniforms, man. I didn't watch the game. Like I said, I had the A&M game on.
Oh, I did,
but I went back to look, and those jerseys look nice.
For those that did not watch the game, they were throwback uniforms that were retro Houston Oilers uniforms. They looked almost identical to the Houston Oilers. And I will tell you, I have never seen so many brand new Houston Oilers jerseys in my life as I did in the stands.
I don't think there have been that many brand new Houston Oilers jerseys bought in the history of the Houston Oilers.
Yep. It was phenomenal. It was incredible. I was very happy to see that. Oilers have never been my team, but it very much is reminiscent of growing up when the Oilers were actually a team back in the early 80s, right? Loved it. But the UTSA did lose 17 to 14 to Houston, but it was there were a couple of really bad plays. There were 3 picks that were thrown by Frank Harris, one of which was definitely not his fault, but 2 of them kind of were because he was trying to force it into coverage to try and get the lead, and he made mistakes. Now, I want to cut him a little bit of slack. I really do. And this next stat is going to blow your mind. This is Frank Harris's 7th year as the UTSA quarterback. 7th year in a 10-year program. Okay? So he's been there pretty much as long. Well, he's been there longer than the coaching staff has. And for him to force into double coverage twice in a game, come on, man. Come on. But I do also want to give him credit. He was coming back. He's basically just finished his rehab the day before the game. He's not had any opportunities to take snaps with any of these new receivers or any of the new players, any of the new offensive linemen or anything like that. So he's trying to learn on the fly. So I'm going to give him credit for that. He at least tried. And it kind of bites when your quarterback throws picks. You can attest to this, right, as a Cowboys fan. But at least give him credit for trying to be a leader on the field and at least trying something, right, rather than rolling up in a ball and just giving up. He fought to the bitter end. So hats off to Frank Harris, especially coming back from multiple knee surgeries, from a procedure that was only supposed to be one knee surgery just to clean up some scar tissue in his knee. Wound up getting infected, and at one point he couldn't bend his knee for several weeks. Like, it was bad. It was really bad. And then Saturday he's out on the field trying to lead his team. So hats off to Frank Harris. And I know we're going to bounce back from that, right? We've got Texas State coming up, which is going to be a tough game.
Just beat Baylor.
Who just beat ranked Baylor.
Well, they weren't ranked, but still, I mean, that's still.
Then they're just pretty ranked. We'll just go with that. So,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean Texas State's not gonna be an easy. I saw a stat. So in teams that are having players through the transfer portal, Colorado's number one, Texas State's number three, and I forget who was number two, but they've got the most transfers to the school.
right.
So
Now, in
they're
all
definitely trying to
fairness,
build a program.
yeah, in all fairness, Colorado has all that because Coach Prime is there and he took all of his
Absolutely.
players from his previous university over there. So it's kind of a built-in thing, right?
Yeah.
So, Coach Prime's debut, hey, that's cute. You beat TCU, who's a ranked team, and they're a tough team. But you took half your team with you. So you already knew what you were going to get, right? So it kind of fish in a barrel thing, right? We're going to find out as they start playing tougher opponents whether Coach Prime's team is actually that good or not. And we'll find out in the next couple of weeks, right? They've got some really big, heavy opponents that they're going to be playing, and I have a feeling that the cracks in the armor are going to show, and Coach Prime isn't going to do as good as he thinks he is. Okay, so but we'll see what happens. Now, let's kick it over to NFL because I think it's important to
We
start.
didn't even talk about the biggest upset of the day, Jay.
What did I miss? What did I miss, sir?
We did not talk about Duke, unranked Duke, just whipping the crap out of number 9 Clemson.
Really?
Absolutely shocking game that nobody saw coming. 28-7. Clemson's only touchdown they scored was in the second quarter. Other than that, Duke just said, "Nope, you're not doing a thing."
Wow.
Yeah, it was insane.
That's very, very interesting. So, what do you think that means, Brian? Was it a fluke? Was it luck of the draw? What was this?
I think that's just your classic team not ready, overlooking the opponent. Just kind of first game of the season, jitters, all that stuff, and then they weren't ready. They were like, it's Duke, we got it. Well, yeah, maybe we're not all set. We'll get it figured out. We're just playing Duke. It's fine. And Duke said, nope, taking this over.
Classic David versus Goliath, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
So, which if you look at the rankings now for the top 25, Duke is number 21. Clemson's all the way down 25.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, and they deserved it. So, okay.
So now we can talk about NFL.
Now let's talk about NFL. But we need to talk about XFL going into NFL. Okay. And here's why I want to talk about this, because we talked about the opportunity that was there for over 100 players, right? And 60 something of which were signed to NFL contracts. But we said it at the time that signed to an NFL contract does not mean you're going to play. It just means that you've got an opportunity. Like, you've made the second round of cuts. You're going to be fighting for a 52-man spot, or a spot on the 52-man roster, or the 11-man practice squad, right?
Practice squad. Yep.
So what has happened since then is that pretty much all but about 5 players. No, I take that back. I'm sorry. All but 1 player have made an NFL starting roster. And I believe it's 5 or 7 XFL players have been signed to practice squads, including our very favorite John Parker Romo, who was released by Detroit because they're morons, and they picked the third-rate kicker to replace him. In Chicago, of all teams, Chicago said, nay. They have signed him to their practice squad, and he will get reps. I can guarantee you at some point in time, he's going to get in the game. Okay. Maybe not this season, but probably by next season when he has an opportunity to show everybody what he can do, he will get into the game, guaranteed. And it sucks that he's going to be wearing, Bears blue, but mad respect for him, right? He is living the dream. And again, Detroit going to Detroit. Let them fall apart. That's their issue. Okay. But yeah, we did not get.
So it looks like the one XFL player to make the team was what team did picked him up, Jay?
Um, damn it, I honestly don't remember.
You don't remember?
I don't remember. Who was it?
It's your own team, Jay.
My Green Bay Packers.
Yeah,
We picked
Daniel
up.
Whelan.
Did we? Well, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, the reason why I'm a little thrown off by that is because there actually is a player from San Antonio, a hometown kid, who is going to be a starting tight end in Green Bay as well. And this is a funny story. Okay. Um, this kid was brought in for an evaluation in Green Bay. They really liked him, but they had some other options they wanted to check out also. They decided to let him walk. Minnesota grabbed him and took him all the way until the final preseason game. And then decided, you know what? Nah, we're going to put you on the practice squad. And he was fine with that. He just wants an opportunity. The kid just wants to play. He's hungry to play. And I can't remember the kid's name, so I'm not, going to name drop or anything like that. I can't because I don't remember. But when Minnesota decided to move him to the practice squad, Green Bay called up and was like, hey, practice squad? Nay. How quickly can you get here to Green Bay? And he was like, well, I could probably be there in about 4 hours. Why? And they said, because we've got a starting spot waiting for you. And so now he's going to be a starting tight end with the Green Bay Packers. So, San Antonio connection. And in fact, let me look back at my messages because I texted a certain somebody about this because I was so excited about it. And this would have been from Sunday. Let me see if I can find it because it's important to talk about. Bum bum bum, bum bum bum, bum bum bum. Keeping everybody entertained. Bum 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 bum. No, it would have been after that.
So while you look for that, one player, the punter for Green Bay, was from the XFL.
Oh, that guy.
And
I
then
don't
there's
count him.
17 XFL players that
That's it.
He made it. We'll count him because he made it.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got
and 17 players from the XFL signed on to practice squads.
Yes.
So,
I can't.
I mean, that's
I can't find.
That's actually pretty good. For the first iteration. I know we were all excited to 100 players to tryouts and 60 signed on teams.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's still you got one player signed to an NFL team that will play, and you got 17 on the practice squad. So it's a pretty solid effort, especially for the first season of the XFL.
Well, technically, it's the third, and I think I was getting. Yeah, I think I was getting my numbers from the 2022 players, because the 2022 players, there's one player from the 2022 class that is still active on a squad, but I cannot seem to find it here, and that's okay. But it is a San Antonio kid, and so we're pulling for him. I mean, I guess I probably could have just gone to Green Bay's. I'll tell you right here. Let's sort by. Can we sort by position here? Position. Tight end. Ben Sims. That's who it is. Ben Sims, local San Antonio kid, went to Baylor College. In fact, actually has some records that he holds at Baylor University. And he's now on the Packers active squad as a tight end, number 89. Now, 89, I'm a little worried about that number because somebody else had that. It was a wide receiver, and so I'm kind of curious about how that's going to work out. But hey, man, the number wasn't retired, so it is what it is. That being the case, I'm still excited because we've got a San Antonio kid on the most legendary NFL team in football history. Okay.
Uh,
Really, bro? 1919? You guys weren't even a
uh,
thing. Okay. So don't start with me. Okay. But yes. So XFL actually did produce some players. Spring football proved that it has an option there. But here's what I'm excited about. Those players that didn't sign contracts get to come back home.
welcome back.
Yep.
Welcome back, Brahma's defense. Welcome back.
Yep. So I'm excited about that. We'll see how the wide receiver position works out. We definitely got to make sure that we bring back Nick Holly and TJ Vasher and bring in a couple more weapons.
Dude, I don't know if you've seen the. I'm pretty excited for the wide receiver group. With Vasher, with Holly, with some of the pickups that they've had.
Mhm.
Uh,
Well,
you
in the
know,
supplemental draft that we had too, right?
yeah,
You know?
I'm looking forward to it. I'm kind of excited
Yeah.
for that.
And then when we can figure out, what we're doing at the quarterback position, because I'm pretty sure Ben Kurt's not coming back. I mean, a guy who's making more jack playing video games and telling people, how to be a football player probably isn't going to want to come back and get 3 broken ribs his first game, right?
Yeah,
He's not
no,
going to want
probably
that.
not. I mean,
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
right. But that also means that there's going to be a bunch of undrafted players. Like we've already seen a couple of the combines, the XFL combines. There's going to be some incredible diamonds in the rough there. We could probably pick up an incredible quarterback or two and actually make a run at this thing, because our defense, man, if our defense comes back the way it did, man, we're going to be solid on defense. We just need to improve that O line and get a super, super sharp quarterback. And we're taking it all the way. So that's my prediction. Okay. But let's talk about football. Let's talk about NFL football, because I would say let's talk about USFL football, but there's no news about
Nobody cares.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say that nobody cares, but there just isn't any news. Like they finished their season and goodbye.
I like to bag on the USFL.
Now, I will say though that what's his name? God, I can't remember the quarterback's name. The one that we always had
Magoo?
Yeah, Magoo. Magoo is on the Packers practice squad. He did not make the 2 quarterback cut. And I will say I kind of think they made a mistake. Although the quarterback that they did draft in the 5th round is a pretty sharp quarterback. I don't know that he's NFL ready, but pretty sharp, right? I thought that did you hear the comment that that Aaron Rodgers made about Jordan Love?
I did not.
Okay. So Aaron Rodgers was asked, and I don't know why they're still like in his mind trying to create a controversy when there's not a controversy there. But Aaron Rodgers was asked again about Jordan Love, and Aaron Rodgers basically said, and I'd have to pull up the quote to get word for word, but basically it was he said the shoes that you're stepping into, you're going to find out they're not as big as what you think they are. The games that you play are not going to be as ominous as they seem to be right now. And all you need to worry about doing is going out there and cementing your own legacy. That's it. Now, taking it at face value, it's a nice comment, right?
Yeah.
But if you look a little bit deeper into it, it's actually a slight towards Brett Favre also. Because think about it. Aaron Rodgers said, you're stepping into those shoes and you find out that legacy isn't as big as what you thought it was. He took over after Brett Favre. And then he did a whole different thing with the team than what Brett Favre did, right? Brett Favre was a gunslinger. Brett Favre was an absolute madman on the field. He would try and force into triple coverage. 99% of the time it would work out. Well, no, statistically speaking, it was probably more like 60% of the time. And he threw a crap ton of interceptions because he was always forcing it. Aaron Rodgers was much more of a tactician, right? He could thread that needle. He could throw into triple coverage, but he also knew that it wasn't smart to do that. So he wouldn't do that,
Yeah.
But there were a lot of double coverage throws that he made, and he made them quite well. Um, again, that being the case, Rodgers kind of took a shot at Brett Favre. If you read between the lines, it's there, right? But it is also a kind of a nice compliment to Jordan Love to tell him, hey man, don't
I'm
worry
gonna
about
take
what
it
I
as
do.
that. I'm not gonna take it as a shot against Favre.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it as saying, "Hey, man, I'm not as big of a deal as everybody's making me out to be.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna do fine."
Mm-hmm. What
So
I think also it's as much of a drama queen as Aaron Rodgers can be, I think it's nice for him to have extended that olive branch, if you will, to
yeah,
just be able to say, hey, look, man, do your thing. I've got my thing going on over here in New York. I'm going to be worried about me, right? You worry about you. Take care of your stuff, and you're going to be just fine, man. You know? And I don't know if Jordan Love is actually going to be fine or not, but I think that now that some of the pressure is kind of being taken off of his shoulders, he can just go out there and be Jordan Love. He doesn't have to be the replacement for Aaron Rodgers, who is the replacement for Brett Favre. He can just be Jordan Love. And I think that's going to make a big difference in how he plays the game, or at least I hope it does.
yeah.
Right. And again, as a diehard Packers fan, I've pretty much already resigned myself to them having a horrible year. So if they break even, hey man, perfect. I better than what I expected. I'll be happy as can be. Now, let's talk about your boy Tony Romo, or not Tony Romo, Dak Prescott, or as Coach calls him, Dakota. Right?
So actually, yeah. So I don't know if you heard like the news today. Jerry came out says, oh, I want Dak to be part of this team for a long time and all that stuff. So anybody who's likes the Cowboys, watches the Cowboys, is familiar with the Cowboys, anytime Jerry says something like that, you're probably going to be gone the next season. So I like to welcome Dak Prescott to his last season with the Cowboys.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure Jerry said the same thing about Zeke last year, and we see how
Mm-hmm.
that worked out. And that's probably what Jerry says when he's looking to get rid of you. So
Yep. That pretty much is the Jerry Jones kiss of death.
yeah,
That's letting you know, go ahead and sell your house.
yeah,
Keep your stuff
yeah.
in a bag in
Don't
your locker.
don't invest in that new property that you're looking at. Maybe just hold off. Let's see how the market corrects itself.
Mm-hmm. So last week, Milton and I talked about Jonathan Taylor finally signing with the Colts, which is a big deal, right? Stayed with the Colts, everything's going to work out there. However,
Is it though? No, because
no,
he still wants to be. He doesn't want to play. He just wants to be traded, and he's injured. So he's on.
he'll
He's
play.
on the pup list.
He'll play. He'll play.
Uh,
He'll play.
we'll
At
see.
some point this year, he will play. I can guarantee it, right? Because if he wants to improve his draft, his value for the next team or whoever to get that bigger contract that he's wanting so badly, he's going to have to play and produce some numbers.
Well, all he has to do is look at Le'Veon Bell. What was
Yeah.
it 5-6 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Wanted the big contract. Pittsburgh wouldn't give him the big contract. He sat out the year because he deserved that big contract. What happened to him after that? He went to the Jets and did nothing.
And now
And,
he's at the Piggly Wiggly
yeah,
in Poughkeepsie, New
probably.
York.
And like I actually heard or saw an interview article about him talking about that a month or two ago, and he said that him sitting out was a mistake.
Yeah.
So
Well, and that's why I'm saying, what's his name here? Taylor is going to have to play at some point this year.
yeah,
He's going to have to. If he wants to do anything to improve his value, he's going to have to play this year, and he's going to have to put up insane numbers to show everybody that, hey, look, I'm worth what I'm asking for.
mm-hmm.
Put me in. Now, again, we've talked about it. The running back position seems to be a dying position. We may wind up being wrong this year, right? Running backs may play a bigger part than what we think they are, but I definitely want
I
to
think
track
they
that
play
data.
a big part. I just don't think you have to pay them stupid amounts of money.
Oh
You
no
can
no
get
no no
you can get a running back that is a year, 2, 3 years in the league to be as productive as some of the top running backs in the league. Maybe not as much as the Saquon Barkleys and stuff like that,
Mhm.
but enough to carry the team with enough of a running back, or even running back by committee. What most teams are doing, or a lot of teams are doing these days.
Mhm.
So you're, and that's what. Yes, a running back is an important part of the team still. Just because of their the blocking, an extra
Mhm.
blocker, catching out of the backfield, getting the short yards, and breaking the long runs and stuff as well. But you don't need to pay players a lot of money to
No,
do that, to be an effective running back.
absolutely not.
Which that's what's dropping the market for the best in the league.
Mhm.
Because hey, I can go draft a guy, and in 2 years he'll be 90% you already.
Yeah.
So
Well, and we can look at, two of the emerging backs in Green Bay as an example. AJ Green is one of them. Incredible, incredible back. His ceiling is so high right now, right? He's not making the ridiculous money. I wouldn't say he's the top running back in the league. I wouldn't even necessarily try and argue that he's top 5, but he's probably top 10. And then our second back is probably top 15, right? So we have a very lethal 1-2 punch there, and neither one of them are making ridiculous amounts of money. Now, they're not making chump
yeah,
change, but they're not making, I mean, for the position, they're making a good amount of money, right? And that's about where you want your backs at. Um, and here's why I say that, right? Because as the position is being used less and less as a running back and more as a situational option, hand it off, do the screen pass, throw a block, whatever, give your quarterback time. That is becoming more of a utility position and less of a skill position as a running player, right? Um, and the reason why all that is happening, going into the next point, is because of how important the tight ends are becoming, right? Everybody is starting to stack up on these super athletic, super strong, super gigantic freaking tight ends, right? I'm expecting within the next year or two to start seeing like 6'10" tight ends, you know? Because then they just got to put their hand up like an inch or two and they're above
yeah.
everybody. So right.
Ball.
But that's kind of where I'm seeing that position going. Now, in the same vein of thought as the tight ends, let's talk about Kansas City. And I'm going to let you take this one, right? Because I know you saw the news.
Yeah.
But how big of an impact is that on the Kansas City Chiefs?
I mean, for those, so Kelsey tweaked his ankle in
Yes.
practice.
Yes.
Unsure. They're not expected to miss long term. Unsure whether he's going to play Thursday night because as the champs, they get the Thursday night kickoff.
Yep.
If it was something that was more serious, that's an absolute crushing blow to the Chiefs. Because, yeah, he's the tight end, but he's also wide receiver number 1 for the Chiefs for Mahomes. I mean, that is, that's a team losing their best receiver because that's what he is to that team. He is, other than Mahomes, the player that makes that offense move. So if they were to miss him long term, it would be an absolute brutal shot to that team.
It would. So, hopefully he, it is just, minor tweak. Takes
Hopefully
the
he
week
plays
off.
because I've got him on one of my fantasy teams.
You're probably going to want to put him on the bench.
Yeah, well,
Even if he does play, he's going to get very limited because they're gonna be worried about his health and the long term run, right? So he's not going to get much playing time if he plays at all. So I would put him on the bench, folks. If you have Travis Kelce on your fantasy football team or one of your 12 fantasy football teams, put him on the bench this week. He's not going to play, and if he does, he's not getting much time at all, right? Nobody is that crazy to sacrifice their number one, player on off
for the number one for the first game of the season against
Detroit, right?
Yeah.
I would be putting second and third string in just anyways,
right. You'll probably beat them
because it's Detroit. But so yeah, Travis Kelce gets the week off. Kansas City's still going to get the win. I'm not worried about it. There's a headline that I thought was worth talking about, which it actually really isn't worth talking about. Patriots Jack Jones has weapon charges dropped after moving court date up. Why is that even a thing? I mean, you're an NFL player. We've seen this happen time and time again. You know, we were talking about the quality of players several weeks ago. How is this a thing that a player who's making millions of dollars playing football is getting in trouble for weapons charges or drugs or whatever? Like, wouldn't you think at some point in these people's college careers, a coach or somebody would step in and say, hey,
Stop being
bud,
an idiot.
yeah, stop being an idiot or you're not going to play. I know you want to go to the NFL. I know you've got the skill. I know you've got the talent for it, and you definitely have the drive. Use your brains. Stop being an idiot and stop getting yourself in this kind of trouble. So I guess maybe this is my do better moment, right?
Yeah.
So college kids, as you're coming out of the college program and getting chances in maybe the XFL, or maybe you even get to the big show, right? You're getting paid millions of dollars. Now, I understand you're sacrificing your body a lot, right? You're taking big hits, potentially blowing out a knee, maybe, landing wrong on your neck or something like that. But you're getting paid millions of dollars to be a professional athlete. Be a professional athlete. Act like a professional athlete. Don't get yourself in these troublesome situations. Don't go out and get yourself all loaded up on drugs or alcohol or something like that and drive your brand new, 2026 Bugatti, spaghetti, whatever, at 1,000,000 miles an hour and kill like 13 people. Like, be smart, okay? Be a good person. You want to do something crazy? Take half of your salary and donate it to charity, right? Help some inner city kids out. Help an inner city school district out. Like, do something good with all of this. Don't piss your career away because you got to show off to your friends because, oh, look, I got a gun. You can have 1,000,000 guns.
Yeah.
Take it to the shooting range, right?
Come to Texas. We all got them. Nobody, they don't oppress nobody here. All right.
No. Don't be driving around with a weapon and committing felonies and stuff like that while you've got a weapon in your vehicle and just making things worse. Do better, guys. Do better. Okay. And for the coaching staff, right? You see
Coach better.
Yeah. If there's a player like that that's on the fence that you see is leaning towards trouble, straighten them out. Bench them. Let them know how important it is that they be an adult in this situation and stop being a grown child, right? So coaching staff do better too. I'm off my soapbox now. That being the case, we've got a bunch of football coming up. This week starts off this Thursday. Kansas City Chiefs against the Detroit Lions, which, nobody really cares. Detroit, might be excited about it, but, other than that, there's not very many people that are going to be super excited about it. Kansas City is just going to be happy to see their team back on the field. Brian, you guys are going up against who this week?
We're playing the Giants at the Sunday night game.
Okay.
So,
and that is a division game.
Yep.
I'm very
thankful. I like that the league. Well, I guess they're not doing it all throughout the entire league, but a lot of times they're starting these seasons off with division games. So, it's a game that means something right out of the gate.
Yep.
So
I'm very interested to see how the Buccaneers are going to do this year without Tom Brady now.
Oh, they got Baker Mayfield. They're going to suck.
They might. Right? No, they probably will. They probably will. I know we've got a division game. We're opening up at Chicago against the Chicago Bears, one of the longest historical rivalries in NFL. In fact, it is the longest rivalry in the NFL.
Yep.
Okay. Now, granted, that goes back to when you still had the Chicago Cardinals and things like that. But we're talking like 1920s is when this rivalry was born. And if any of our fans are watching that are familiar with being from the upper Midwest like that. Milwaukee basically is Chicago North, and then once you get above Milwaukee, then that's where Wisconsin actually starts. Um, and there is absolutely no love lost between Green Bay and Chicago. This
Oh,
is going to be a fun way to start the season, for my precious Packers. This is going to be a trial by fire because Justin Fields and company is not going to be an easy team, right? So defense needs to come out. They need to be sharp. They need to be ready.
and
They
they're
need
playing
to.
at Chicago too, so it's gonna
Mhm.
be it's gonna be a nasty environment for Love.
Mm-hmm. This is going to be his mate. Well, I say this, and I understand the gravity of what I'm about to say, but this could potentially be the make or break moment for Love, right? If he can even just come out and have a decent showing, like this could potentially be his launching point for his 10-plus year career.
Yeah.
Okay. If he comes out and does absolutely horrible, he better not come back to Green Bay because they're going to be waiting for him, man. They're going to be angry.
I think just seeing watching him come out and not get rattled
Mm-hmm.
by the crowd, by the environment, by
Right.
Chicago and stuff. That, like you said, that would go really really far in solidifying his role as the leader of the team. Because
Yep.
you can come out to Chicago and you get scared and they're screaming and cursing and saying you're number one and all that stuff. If you that rattles you, then you're probably not going to cut it in the league.
Right.
So this
Right.
is this is like you said, I don't think they have to win,
Mm-hmm.
but he has to show that he can withstand that pressure.
Right. And now keep in mind, this is not Love's first game starting, right? But this is his first game as the starting quarterback.
Right.
Okay. This is his team now. So, like you said, he has to come out and he has to command that team. If he can command that team, even if it's a loss, if he can command that team successfully, then this is his opportunity to solidify, like you said, his role as the leader. People are going to listen to him, they're going to respond to him, and they're going to, lay everything on the line for him. If he goes in soft in any way, shape, or form, the team is going to crucify him. Not even the fans, the team is going to crucify him because they're all going to turn their back on him.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, hoping for the best for Jordan Love. I would love to see him just light up the Chicago Bears for multiple reasons. But this is going to be very interesting to see what happens, man. So, what are you predicting for your precious Cowboys against the Giants?
Man, it's our year. We're gonna win. We're gonna go 17-0. No, probably not. But I do think we're winning this game.
Okay.
Yeah, Giants. They're going to be fighting with Washington for bottom of the NFC East. So
I think that's a fair assessment, honestly.
you
Because
know,
I
I came across something I was gonna mention and I lost it, but I saw a little stat today that there are 5 championships won between all like the starting NFL quarterbacks active right now.
wow.
So Mahomes has 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Favre has one. Uh,
Favre, Rogers.
Rogers has one. Uh, uh, Stafford
Mm-hmm.
has one,
Yep.
and there's one that I'm missing. But it was five championships for the starting quarterbacks
Yeah.
out of and it was 4 people, 4 quarterbacks that have those championships.
Now, hang on. Doesn't Mahomes have three? Or is it only
No, he
two?
played in 3,
Okay, okay.
but because they lost to Brady.
That's right.
So
That was last year.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
no, last year they won. So 2 years ago, yeah, two
Was
years
it?
ago, Brady's first year with Tampa.
No,
two
that's
years ago,
right. Yeah,
yeah,
because last year he just flubbed the whole thing.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So, but yeah, so four quarterbacks have
Five
won
championships.
championships in
Yeah.
the entire league for the starting quarterbacks.
Yep.
That's insane. And it's a crazy to think, but Brady is now out of the league, and he had 10 of them for forever. So
Yep.
that's just that was just an insane stat that I came across.
It is, but you think about the the turnover rate in the NFL, like
Yeah.
all the old guard
Because you
is
got
gone.
Foles, Foles had one, but he's out of the league.
Yep.
Who are the other ones that have won? Like, so it's yeah.
Yep. Now, two other things to talk about real quick. Bills and Jets. This is going to be Aaron Rodgers' first game as a New York Jet on national television. It is against the Bills, but it is at home, right? Bills Mafia is going to show up. It's going to be messy because the Bills are just a messy team. I have a feeling that, Aaron Rodgers is going to eke out a win. I don't think it's going to be as great as he thinks it is, though. Hey, look, it's our friend Jackie.
Hey, Jackie.
And she's here for your cat.
Oh, I think he's hanging out with my wife.
Yes.
He doesn't care about me right now.
Yes. Jax. Co-host extraordinaire.
Right.
But I think this will be a good test for Aaron Rodgers to see if he can actually pull it off or not. And we'll see what happens, right? The other thing I wanted to talk about, though, is that Derek Carr is going to be leading the helm in New Orleans.
That's right.
This is going to prove, I think, that he's not as bad as everybody thought he was.
I've been saying this for years, kind of similar with, Matthew Stafford when he was with the Lions and then he got to the Rams. Carr's a good quarterback. Mm-hmm. He just hasn't had a lot around him. He hasn't had a solid team around him to be able to show that. Mm-hmm. So, does New Orleans have a solid team?
We're going to find out.
Yeah. But, I think, it's kind of the change of scenery I think is going to be good for him.
Yep.
Same with Jimmy G going from San Francisco now to the Raiders where Carr came from.
Yep.
I think that will be good for him as well too. Another quarterback who, he's not the top in the league, but still he's a solid quarterback. So
yeah, he's a solid middle of the pack quarterback.
Yeah.
So
I think both of those players, the moves are good for them.
Yeah.
And they're just gonna help their career.
Yep. So lots of football action coming to you this weekend. Make sure that you're tuning in to watch your favorite team win or hopefully, not lose, but it could happen, right? But definitely support your local, not your local, support your favorite football team. We'll go with that. And make sure that you're watching college football this year also because there's a lot of exciting things happening.
I'll tell you the big game next week is going to be UT and Alabama. That's
going to be a great game.
It's going to be a real good game. It's kind of a nice little test for UT joining the SEC next year. Kind of what they're going to be up against every season. So,
Yep. So we'll see what happens with that.
So,
and again,
hook this. Go Alabama.
Horns up, baby. And definitely UTSA is going to be taking on, what could potentially be the powerhouse of Texas State, which has never really been known for football.
It's been known for partying.
Yeah, drinking and, unwanted pregnancies and things like that, STDs, all the good stuff that you do in college. But apparently they've decided that they're done with that. They're going to be a football school. So, right, go UTSA. We're excited about that. And again, just lots of football action going on. We are in the thick of it now. So make sure that you're tuning in.
And playing Miami. So,
yep. We will do a better job on covering high school as well. We just got to find better websites to get our information from. But that being the case, Brian, why don't you sign us off?
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it and hope you guys have a great week.
Horns forward.
We'll see you next week.
Later.